Imagine a garden that returns to you every single May. A garden you only have to plant once. There's a quiet way of gardening, older than any of us remember. The way grandmothers practiced for a lifetime without ever needing to name it. This May, you can sow 13 gentle perennials just one time, and they will come back to you year after year for a decade or more. No replanting, no remembering. And the very last flower I share, the one I'd keep before anything else, is a plant whose name is the whole quiet message of this video. See if you can find it as we walk together. If you've ever felt tired of buying seeds again every spring, this video is for you. 12, maybe 14 minutes. No rush, just settle in. I'll walk you through 13 quiet plants. For each one, what it looks like, where it likes to live, how to sow it in May, and one small, beautiful thing to remember it by. We'll count down from 13 to 1. And the first one we meet is a plant of silver and quiet. Number 13. Rattlesnake Master, Eryngium yuccifolium. Don't let the name worry you. It's an old prairie plant with silvery blue thistleheads that look almost still, like they've been carved from moonlight. It loves full sun and ground that isn't too rich. Scatter the seeds in May, press them lightly into the soil, water once, and walk away. Autumn winds will rock the dry heads, and seeds will fall on their own. Prairie gardeners knew this plant long before botanists named it. Number 12. Hollyhock, Alcea rosea, the cottage tower. Pink, red, cream, almost black, climbing 5, 6, sometimes 8 feet, swaying like old summer dresses on a line. They like sun and a sheltered wall. Sow the seeds in May, just under a thin breath of soil. Hollyhocks are biennials. They take a year to bloom, but the colony will stay with you for 25, 30 years. My grandmother had one against her kitchen wall for as long as I remember. It just kept coming back. Number 11. Bee Balm, Monarda didema. A flower that looks like a small red firework and smells of bergamot and warm earth when you brush its leaves. It likes sun and moist ground. Scatter seeds in May, lightly cover, and the first colony will take a season to settle. Once it does, it returns each summer, and hummingbirds will know to look for it. Oswego people brewed its leaves long before there was tea. Number 10. Mountain Cornflower, Centaurea montana, the old-fashioned bachelor's button. Soft, fringed blue, the colour of a quiet sky just after rain. Sun, ordinary soil, it asks very little. Sow seeds in May where you want a soft blue drift, and it will spread gently from there. Not invasive, just generous. Number 9. Rose Campion, Lychnis coronaria. Silver-grey leaves, soft as felt, and flowers in deep pink velvet. The kind of plant a painter would put in the corner of a quiet, still life. It loves sun and dry ground. Those silver leaves are built for thirst. Sow in May, surface pressed. Tiny seeds will scatter on the breeze when summer ends, and a new generation will wake in spring. 5 plants now, all of them quiet companions for sunny corners. The next 5 plants love quieter places, shaded corners, woodland edges. And one of them does something so unusual that, for half the year, you'd swear it had left you. But it hasn't. Number 8. Balloon flower, Platycodon grandiflorus. Just before it blooms, the bud puffs up like a tiny paper balloon, the kind you imagined finding in a fairy tale. Sun or part shade, ordinary soil. Sow in May, just a whisper of soil over the seeds. The roots are brittle, so the easiest way to multiply them is to let them seed themselves. They settle in slowly and stay for a very long time. Number 7. Lady's Mantle, Alchemilla mollis. Look closely at its pleated leaves after a morning rain. Each one holds a single round drop of water, like a small pearl. Medieval alchemists believed this was the purest water in the world. It loves part shade and steady moisture. Sow seeds in May at the soil's surface. It self-sows generously in cool, moist corners, and once settled, it carpets the ground in soft chartreuse green. Number 6. Virginia Bluebells, Mertensia virginica. The buds open pink, then turn sky blue, hanging like small bells in early spring woodland. Bumblebees can hardly stay away. It loves dappled shade and rich woodland soil. Sow seeds in May right where you want it. But here is the gentle thing I promised. Once Virginia bluebells finish blooming, the whole plant disappears. The leaves fade, the stems vanish, and by summer there is nothing there. It hasn't left you, it's only sleeping. Underground, it's already preparing for next spring. A garden that knows when to rest. That's a gift too. Number 5. Black-eyed Susan, Rudbeckia hirta. Bright golden petals around a deep chocolate center. The steady, cheerful face of late summer prairies across North America. Full sun, any reasonable soil. Sow in May at the surface. The seeds need light to germinate. Don't cover them. And don't cut back the spent flowers in fall either. Those dark seed heads feed goldfinches all winter long, when the rest of the garden has gone quiet. Number 4. Purple Coneflower, Echinacea purpurea. Tall, swaying stems, dusty rose petals drooping back from a copper cone. A plant that looks the way wind sounds. Sun, average soil. Sow in May, lightly pressed in. Leave the cones standing through winter. Their soft brown shapes catch frost and snow, and sparrows and finches will come for the seeds. The garden keeps feeding even while it sleeps. 3 flowers left. The next 2 ask something from us. A quiet kind of respect. They are beautiful, but not for touching. Not for small hands or curious puppies. I'll show you what I mean. Number 3. Columbine, Aquilegia canadensis. From the Latin columba, dove. Look closely. The petals fold inward like 5 small doves leaning in to drink. There's an old softness in this flower. It loves part shade and well-drained soil. Sow seeds in May at the surface. They need light. One gentle note. This plant carries natural compounds in its leaves that shouldn't be chewed. So plant it in a bed away from where small children or small dogs play. That's all. Then enjoy it from a small, respectful distance. Number 2. Foxglove, Digitalis purpurea. Tall spires of bell-shaped flowers, freckled inside. Those small spots are landing lights for bumblebees, a flower right out of an old fairy tale. Foxglove likes part shade and rich, moist soil. Sow seeds in May right on the surface and press them gently. They need light. Now, the gentle promise I made earlier. Foxglove is a plant of observation, not of touch. The ASPCA lists it as not safe around dogs, cats, or horses, and it isn't safe for small children either. So I plant it at the far edge of the garden, where it can bow in the breeze and keep its fairy tale secrets safely to itself. And now, the very last one. Number 1. Number 1. Forget-me-not. Myosotis sylvatica. 5 tiny round petals of soft sky blue, each one no bigger than a fingernail. And, in the right corner of a garden, they spread into a low blue mist, returning every spring on their own. It loves dappled shade and cool, moist soil. Sow the seeds in May, right at the surface, and don't be in a hurry. The first year it gathers itself. From the second year on, it returns, fuller, every May. There's a medieval story about this flower. A knight, walking by the Danube, picked a small bunch for his beloved. He slipped, fell into the river, and as the current carried him away, he threw the flowers up to her on the bank, calling out one last word: "Forget-me-not." From that day, this small flower has been the quiet symbol of devotion that does not fade. And that is why this is number 1. Not because it's the tallest, not because it's the rarest. It's here because its name is the whole quiet promise of this video. Plant it once in May, and a soft blue carpet will return to your garden year after year, whispering the gentle meaning of its name. I am still here. Forget-me-not. If you've come this far with me, thank you. Before we close, let me gather these 13 into 3 small bundles, so it's easier to choose where to begin. If you have a sunny corner, try Hollyhock, Bee Balm, Rose Campion, Black-Eyed Susan, and Purple Coneflower. If you have a shaded corner, try Forget-me-not, Virginia Bluebells, Columbine, Foxglove, and Lady's Mantle. And if you live somewhere very cold, Zone 3 or 4, Hollyhock, Columbine, Virginia Bluebells, Balloon Flower, and Mountain Cornflower will be steady companions. Sit with this for a moment, if you'd like. 13 plants, sown once this May with a single, quiet image to remember each one. No buying again, no remembering to replant. A garden that returns to you year after year, for as long as you let it set its own seed. And if you remember only one, let it be the small blue flower whose name is its message. I am still here. Forget-me-not. There's a quiet corner of a garden waiting for you tonight. If only one of these 13 called your name, Leave it in the comments. Writing it down is the first step. Next May, you'll come back here and find your corner already blooming. Happy gardening, and don't forget